What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about OnyxCoin today, XCN. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, my friends. It is the 10th day of August, and I didn't make any videos yesterday, but what a day we had. What an absolutely nothing of a day we had. 1% to the upside. Here we are, 1% to the downside. Back where we were, I think, 2 days ago whenever I made my last video. So 8 hours, 48 minutes left in the day here. Not a whole lot going on. Nothing to see, folks. Move along. I really have a hard time believing this is the low just because of the reaction that we're having here, but maybe I just need to let go of the idea that OnyxCoin needs to erupt as soon as it hits any kind of low in order to validate its low. But that is typically what happens, right? Typically, that is what happens. If we're looking at this from an overall low here back on April 7th to the high on the 11th there, like 5 days later, crazy 260% pump there, low to high. We moved all the way up and then all the way back down to our golden ratio. Found support right there, up to the 236, this is a pretty volatile and unorthodox way of doing things with the fibs. But now they're at the 0.5 holding this area of support. It's kind of puts us in an interesting scenario where we either will break out and move higher, or if we break out and move lower, we'd probably find some kind of double bottom respective to this low here, or a slightly lower low. The lowest I'd give us is 1.12 cents. I really don't believe at this point in time that we'd go below 1.12 cents. I don't believe that we'd go below 1.23 cents or 1.2 cents even. Maybe something slightly lower than this low, but I don't know if we go this far below. But something in this zone very much stands out. All we have to do to invalidate that idea is get above 1.5 cents. Get above 0.015. If you can get above there on a daily closing time frame, that will likely encourage the price to continue to grow. And we're at the point, guys, where we've been consolidating for so long. Like if you remember, let's just look at this here. Okay, we go back in time. This consolidation phase from the high to the low was about 71 days. Okay, here from the high to the low, it was about 72 days. So very very similar on that kind of perspective, and that's why we were so bullish down here, and rightfully so for a little while. But it didn't promote anything that was too that was like what we've seen before with OnyxCoin as far as it pumps. Really, I wouldn't say this consolidation phase has lasted for 72 days. I would say that we're still in it, and it's lasted for about 121 days. We've been consolidating for a very long time. So longer consolidation, more sideways consolidation. A part of this consolidation phase, like almost half of it, has been kind of in an uptrend with these higher lows and higher highs here. Really just a sideways trend in itself. I very much would expect that we do continue to grow and that we will see a massive pump as a result of this. I think this was nice, a 5-day pump that resulted in like a 260, 230% pump. I forget how much it was. Let's see actually real quick here. Hold on. From a low to a high, 262. I would anticipate that we see a larger pump, a much larger pump, because we have a much larger phase of consolidation. And not only is it larger, but it's also more tame, more sideways, more like an accumulative zone. And we've identified this for months now, since June. Hold on, guys, hold on. I'm at the house alone. My wife is not here at the moment. She left me. No, she'll be back soon enough. But I've got my daughter, and she loves it whenever I'm making videos. But I don't want to show her face to anybody. You know what I mean? It's a weird world we live in, you guys. So some people are all about bringing their kids, and I would love it. I would love to do that. But man, there are for her own privacy, for her own sake. Maybe when she's older, if she wants to come on videos with me. I don't know. Whatever. But she's only 3, so I'm protecting that. Where was I? I was basically just saying I would expect that this result, if this is what we got after, if this is what we got after this result here, I can't imagine how fantastic this is going to be. Oh, that's what I was saying. Since like the middle of June, or maybe even before that, we've been paying attention to the volume spikes, and every time we drop, the volume is insignificant. Anytime we pump, it's significant. So there's only interest in seeing this thing going up. Nobody wants to sell. In other words, all the people who have wanted to sell this thing, they've already sold it. Now, maybe we get a shakeout, maybe we get a true capitulation event where we go a little bit lower than this low and even lower than this low. We add to some selling pressure, but there's going to be a lot of buying pressure too. So don't get faked out, don't get shaked out. If you're holding a bag of like 10 or 20 coins or 5 coins and OnyxCoin is the only one that's not pumping, understand it's the worst idea to sell your boring coin for any coin that's exciting, right? At one point, I remember when we were talking about OnyxCoin being the exciting coin, it was pumping up here, and I was saying, don't sell your boring coins for the exciting coins, right? I didn't think that we'd stop here. I thought that we would continue to move up, but that's beside the point. All I'm saying here, guys, is we're getting ready for a massive move, okay? Absolutely extraordinarily massive move. MACD, I could take it or leave it. I'm not really too worried about it. We're moving sideways. We're being neutral. It's not really that big of a deal. Anybody calling this a head and shoulders pattern, they don't know what they're talking about. They genuinely just don't know TA, actually, because head and shoulders patterns do not form at the low. And it doesn't, I can see where it kind of looks like one, but it doesn't look like one. It's not, it's too weird. The left shoulder, where's the left shoulder start? Here? The high and low? Well, you don't have a high over here. I guess you have this high right here. I don't know. Maybe you could make sense out of it to some degree. I guess you could. It's just a weird looking head and shoulders pattern. And beyond that, they don't happen at the lows. They happen at the highs. Head and shoulders patterns are top patterns. And it's kind of one of the weird. Every pattern's different, right? Some of them come with more specific parameters. Head and shoulders patterns can only form at the top. They can only form at the top. Inverse head and shoulders can only form at the bottom. If it's anything else of the like, it's not that. It just looks like that, and maybe it has the same result at the end of the day, but I highly doubt that we're going to break out to the downside, you guys. I think this is more of an accumulative pattern than a distributive pattern, but time will tell, I suppose, on that note. The RSI bouncing off the oversold zone. We've done this before, right? The last couple times. That's when we're near our low points. Stochastics are coming up. Hey, that's actually a good sign right there, you guys. If today wasn't closing red, I'd actually be convinced that we were moving up. So let's see, 8 hours, 42 minutes left. Let's see, we're only down 1.2%. Let's see if we can move up by the end of the day. If we can close this green, get the stochastics, this blue line here, to be up in the band with the orange line, that would be a very bullish indication, my friends. Weekly time frame. Looking at this one here. The stochastics are in an area to bounce. I would have preferred it if this week closed green. So we're down 2%. If we could move up 2% in the next 8 hours, 41 minutes too by the end of this week, that's great. If not, I'm not too worried about it. We bounced before, and we got a little bit into the oversold zone, and that actually resulted in a good thing. But the last couple times that we've been in this area have marked some significant low points, right? Here in this consolidation phase, the low point was when we were in the oversold zone. Here, this low point of this last consolidation phase was at the oversold zone. Here we are in the oversold zone now. So we're not at the low point. Is that a foreshadowing of a slightly lower low to come? Maybe it is. Or maybe we're just at a relative low point, not the low point, and then we move up from here nonetheless. The MACD on the weekly time frame looks good enough. I'm not worried about it, right? It's building bearish momentum at the moment, but we do have higher lows coming in. We have higher lows on the price. That's bullish convergence, if anything. The RSI is very neutral, but overall very, very, very bullish. So, and the MACD is in a more bullish posturing than a bearish posturing too. So I don't really have anything else that I want to say, guys. As far as the day-to-day stuff goes, we're just waiting, man. We're really waiting on a breakout one way or another. If we break out to the upside, optimistic that riches and glory await, and we'll see prices rapidly approach 8 cents and beyond. And if we're waiting on a breakout to the downside, it'll be like 1.3 to 1.2 cents, maybe even 1.12 at the lowest, but I doubt that we'd go lower than that. As far as which direction are we going to go, normally I would feel very confident in saying that we are going lower, just because this is not how OnyxCoin likes to bottom, but I don't know. I don't think we're in normal times either, so I don't want to be too rash in saying that we are going lower. If we get above 1.5 cents, we're going higher. If we get below, let's say, 1.37 cents, we're probably going lower. But that's like basically the top and the bottom of the range. Yeah, it is. But that's, until then we're range bound. So then pick a direction and then we'll go from there. I got nothing else for you guys, though. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button. Let's see if we got anything on the 4 hour. 4 hour actually looks like it's at an area to bounce. We might pump up by the end of the day, you guys. That'd be nice. Again, that'd be a really nice signal if today could close green. If we can move up 2% by the end of the week. The MACD is in a position where make it or break it time, and the stochastics could be bouncing too. We've got the right tools to bounce here, actually, you guys. We really do have the right tools for this day to finish green and maybe even get this week to close with a little bit of green, but we got to do it here. We can't go lower. If we move down, if we're moving down by the end of today, even if we're not down below these lows, actually, I would say if we're moving down by the end of today, that might up the chances that we do go lower. How much lower? I don't know. 1.3, 1.2, 1.1, somewhere in that zone. Take care. See you on the next one. Bye-bye.